Alright guys, and welcome to a long play review for OutRun on the Amstrad CPC. Now first of all, just very quickly, apologies, I've not really been around much, you haven't seen many videos from me. I've had a really rubbish month. So I thought, what the hell, that's over and done with, let's have a look at a really rubbish conversion. And yeah, US Gold handle the conversion of this absolute classic racing game from Sega. Here's the box art. Note the Amstrad screenshot on the back of the box there. There it is on the left, and in comparison to the actual screenshot on the right there, what's happening there? I wonder if there was a better Amstrad version that was unfinished and they just US Gold rushed it out with a different company. Because it does feel very rushed and it's very similar to the Speccy original. Now the arcade original, released in 1986 by Sega. Various different versions of it, for example this sit-down cabinet. And there's a lesser version there as well, and two upright versions as well. Designed and programmed by the legendary Yu Suzuki, who was responsible for Space Harrier, Hang On, Enduro Racer, Afterburner, Power Drift, Turbo OutRun, G-Lock, Virtual Fighter. So yeah, an absolute legend. And of course we start off by taking a look at the arcade original, just so you get a bit of a comparison to what we ended up with on the Amstrad. And yeah, this is probably the most famous arcade racing game of all time. Everyone knows OutRun, who's ever owned a computer in the 80s or whatever. And it's just an absolute joyous experience, from the well, the wonderful gameplay, the fast sprite scaling and lovely graphics, fantastic music. It's great that you can actually choose the soundtrack to listen to in the game. I think that was the first time I've seen that done in a arcade game. And plus for a racing game as well, two really big things to mention really. First of all, the camera that sort of follows the car, and it sort of zooms in and out under structures and bridges. And also you get a choice of course and direction to take. You can go left, you can go right. And it opens up, well, a whole new sort of experience in different roads and places to visit. So it was quite, quite revolutionary at the time. And as you can see, it's an absolutely fantastic experience and an absolute joy to play. So many of you that played it in the arcade at the time must have been eagerly awaiting the home computer versions. Whee! So yes, let's let's move on to the Amstrad version. And there's the box art again, and let's get this booted up. So yes, US Gold, they did some awful arcade conversions, as we know. Yeah, here's the title screen, and we get some lovely music actually. I think it's Splash Wave, the soundtrack it's doing now. Well, take a listen and enjoy now, because unfortunately guys, this is the only time we're going to hear music in game. And it's actually quite good music actually as well. Quite a good rendition of the theme. So actually, just from this loading screen, you'd think like, oh, that must be what the game's like, the graphics are like in game. But no, it looks very different, and a lot more messy. So US Gold getting your hopes up there. US Gold also, because there's no music in game, they basically shipped a tape of the recording of the arcade music in the box, so you could play it on a hi-fi whilst you're playing the game. A bit of a cop out and cheat there really. And it's identical to the arcade music, so I've not added it in the video. But that's typically cheap tactics there by US Gold. Or at least they saw the game and thought, this is really quite bad, we better add something extra to the package. Now the programming was apparently farmed out to Probe software. Now Probe are normally a really excellent programming house and team. They did some absolutely fantastic games and arcade conversions, but I mean, I'm going to say right now, obviously this conversion is quite dreadful. And I did a little bit of digging and found out that the programmers weren't the usual programmers. It was Ian Morrison of ICE, I think they were based in Glasgow, and they did the awful driving conversions of Cisco Heat, Chase HQ2, which we're still yet to find, and loads of really bad driving games. I don't know why they got so much work doing all these arcade driving games, because they were all rubbish by them. So I never understood why ICE and Ian Morrison managed to snag so many contracts and licenses for these types of games. But there we go, we're starting off now. And absolutely dead silent. The graphics look nothing like the loading screen or the back of the box. It's slow. The frame rate is poor. Oh, there you go, a little bit of sound effects there. Some awful sort of beeping noises there, which are supposed to be well, your tyres screeching as you go around bends. Apart from that, absolutely nothing at all. I think there may be sort of a crashing noise as well if you manage to hit a tree or another car at a certain speed or whatever. But that's it, two noises in the entire game. Couldn't they have like an engine noise at least? And also we're travelling about 290 kilometers per hour. It doesn't seem to make much. It doesn't look like you're travelling any faster when you're going about 200 kilometers per hour or 160 kilometers per hour. But yeah, what a letdown. Graphics are really blocky and messy. Are really I mean, just like the lines on the road are all jaggedy and messy. I mean, they could have really been tidied up. Well, we've got bends and dips though, I suppose. And we do get a choice of route to choose as well. And on this long play, I'm going to be taking the hardest route possible, which is always turning to the right. The roads to the right are the hardest, roads to the left easier. Oh, just hit a beetle there. That's the end of the first stage, and then we have to load up the next stage, which would have been a nightmare on cassette, because you just had to sit through about 4 other stages worth of space in the tape before you finally loaded up your stage. Okay, moving on. The road stays the same, just a boring green colour, but we do get some different cars. We get a different background and maybe some different stuff at the side of the roads. Some of the routes you can go on do match what's in the arcade original, which is, for example, like the stone pillars, and they go overhead as well. They are on one of the stages. They don't look very good, but at least they bothered to program that in. And at least the Amstrad and Spectrum versions do try and match the courses of the arcade original as much as possible. And we do have the choice different routes as well. But probably the best of the 8-bit versions is the Commodore 64 version. It's certainly the fastest and most playable, but there's only 5 routes you can go on. There's no fork in the road to choose the next one. So you just stuck going straight, but I think you can choose different routes on loading before the main game loads on the Commodore version. that's a bit strange, but at least I think the probably Amstrad Spectrum version is a little bit more faithful to the arcade original. This looks and feels and plays very, very similar to the Speccy original, Speccy version, so they've probably just taken the core code and dumped it onto the Amstrad and just basically bolted on the graphics with colour. I think the Speccy version just plays a touch smoother and faster, not by much, but it plays very, very similar. What I do hate though is the other cars on the road and the traffic. They just all of a sudden just switch lanes. Maybe we'll see that happening shortly. So you're thinking you're just driving by someone and they suddenly decide to switch lanes right in front of you. I mean, it's just really, really poor AI and programming, really. Very, very frustrating. You think you're about to overtake someone and then just as you're overtaking them, they change lanes right in front of you. I mean, who does that? There you go, there's one that's just done it. So I always try and sort of... if we're on a multi-lane freeway like this one, I try and keep like sort of 2 lanes away from the nearest car, just in case. Oh yeah, you got a gear, changing gears there. When I go into high gear, there you do get sort of the smoke from the back of the wheels there. They've at least they've got that sort of graphic in there, and the car sort of jumps up in the air a little bit. So yeah, just low and high gear. You've got no way of knowing which gear you're in because there's no indication on the screen. So just from your speed and the revs there. I'm in low gear there. I'm high gear now. Sorry. And I think you want to sort of change into high gear around about 150, 160 kilometers per hour. I think the same guys behind the OutRun conversion went on to do the turbo OutRun conversion, which people seem to like better. It was very, very slightly smoother, faster, and had slightly better graphics. But really, it plays and feels very, very much the same. Very laggy, very poor frame rate, poor sprite scaling. I mean, the biggest thing about the arcade original was the awesome sprite scaling. I mean, it's asking a lot, for an 8-bit computer like the Amstrad or Speccy or Commodore to sort of handle sprite scaling to the extent the arcade original did. But there are other driving games that managed it more than comfortably. Chase HQ, Continental Circus, WEC Le Mans, fantastic driving games. All with good, pretty decent sprite scaling and speed, and most of them had music in game and good sound effects and much better graphics. I mean, to be fair though, I mean this conversion was released in 1987. One of the earliest driving arcade conversions to the Amstrad. And being further fair, there wasn't that many other driving games around at the time that were much better than this. Ooh. Oh yeah, there's sometimes some graphical distortions as well. Just look at the bottom of the road there, like part of the lines on the road sometimes zigzag across the plain area, or just randomly appear. Yeah, quite messy really. I mean, this Amstrad conversion is notorious and for everyone hating it. I do dislike it as well. Perhaps not as bad as everyone makes out. I mean, it's still relatively playable. I had a small amount of fun playing this, but you have to remember I'm playing this on emulation and I didn't pay for it at the time. I didn't pay like £10 on cassette or £15 on disc. And being really excited you got a conversion of OutRun on the Amstrad in your hands, when you bought it from a shop and couldn't wait to get it home, so excited, and you loaded it up and you got given this. Yeah, you would have been really, really disappointed and upset and pissed off. So there you go. we're coming up to the stage 5, which is the last stage. As you can see, traffic is getting a little bit more mental now. I think I'm on normal traffic settings. On the menu there you can choose difficulty of the traffic. And very hard traffic just means that extra cars, and more of them are likely to suddenly just jump lanes in front of you as well. So there you go. I've just stuck on normal difficulty because there's enough cars on the road, especially on these stages now. And later stages, obviously the road gets tighter, there's less lanes. So you've got to be really careful, especially on this stage. And of course, yeah, lorries and other cars just suddenly switching lanes in front of you. It gets quite tough. But I think the collision detection is pretty poor as well. Controls are pretty sluggish. Not the worst ever, but oh yeah, of course we're going down to 2 lanes now here, which makes it even more tougher. Don't be afraid to use the low gear. My trick is always, as you come into a bend, just release the accelerator just to give you a bit more grip, and then accelerate out the bend. Quite a lot of the bends you can just keep accelerating all the way through. But on these like 2-lane sections here, don't be afraid to use low gear. If you've done really well in the previous stages and you've got through it without a scrape, then you should have plenty of time to get through this. Woo! Yeah, check them out changing lanes there. Did we really need to have these cars and lorries changing lanes? Well, there you go. I think we're coming towards the end now, and it's nearly completed. Review in summary. Yeah, this is a hugely disappointing conversion. Pretty awful stuff. It gets a 3.5 out of 10 from me as a final review score. Perhaps not as bad as everyone makes out to be, but it's still pretty appalling, and would have been hugely disappointing if you bought it at the time of release and spent all your pocket money on it, or got it for Christmas. There we go, congratulations. The computer takes over the car now for some strange reason, but there's no real ending. On the Speccy version the car spins around, and I think the guy gets out of the car. On the Commodore 64 version, the girl and the guy hug each other and kiss. On the Amstrad version, we just get a text message there, and time counts down with some score. Now try a different route. No thank you. That'll do for me with OutRun. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I'll get some more videos up soon, and yeah, I'll catch you again soon. Hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.